So Thomas Forrester is finally back in town. Yes, you heard that, right? Matthew Atkinson has returned to our screens after being Mia since last December, and honestly, it is about time. We all thought he was going to come back to deal with the massive corporate disaster that Hope Logan created when she completely blindsided everyone and jumped ship to Logan Creations. I mean, Forrester Creations is in absolute shambles right now. The hope for the future line is basically dead in the water. Zende is having a complete meltdown over his shelved designs, Ridge is punching people in the face, and Eric just publicly fired Donna. But does Thomas care about the fashion drama right now? Nope. He marches straight into the personal drama. Because, of course, he does. That is just classic Thomas Forrester. He always has to insert himself into Steffy's life, especially when he smells blood in the water. And right now, there is a whole lot of blood. But let's rewind for a quick second to set the stage. A few episodes ago, we saw Sheila Carter actually sign those divorce papers to legally free Deacon Sharp. And Deacon, bless his incredibly naive heart, actually believes this means she is reformed. He is thrilled, but we know the truth. The fans on social media know the truth. Sheila is just playing a long, dark game. She took those signed divorce papers and marched straight into John Finn Finnegan's office at the hospital to manipulate him. She played the victim, she cried, she begged for access to him and Little Hayes and Finn. Oh, Finn, he actually fell for it. Again. He promised his psychopathic birth mother that he would talk to Steffy about giving her another chance. I can't even with this guy sometimes. What were the writers thinking making him this gullible? So here is where it gets absolutely crazy. Thomas returns to LA, and he immediately discovers that Finn is wavering on Sheila's pleas. Maybe he went to the hospital to check on Steffy and overheard something, or maybe he just walked right into Finn's office and saw the signed divorce papers sitting there on the desk. However it happened, Thomas took one look at Finn's conflicted, puppy dog face and knew exactly what was going on. Because Thomas is a lot of things, but he is certainly not stupid. He has a built-in radar for manipulation because, let's be real here, he used to be the absolute master manipulator himself. He knows exactly what a con looks like. And Thomas just explodes. We are talking a full-blown, heated argument right there in the middle of the hospital office. Thomas does not hold back. He never has when it comes to his sister's safety. He looks Finn dead in the eye and calls him weak. He literally accuses Finn of being too weak and completely unworthy of protecting Steffy. And honestly, is he wrong? I know some of you guys love Finn, and I really want to love him too. He is a good doctor, a nice guy, a loving father. But when it comes to Sheila Carter, he is a walking disaster. He has a blind spot the size of a Mack truck, and it is going to get someone killed. Thomas lays into him with everything he has. He brings up the entire dark history. How Sheila shot Steffy in that alley. How she shot Finn. How she left them both for dead bleeding on the trash-covered pavement. How she terrorized their family for decades. And Thomas is just standing there, veins popping in his neck, yelling at Finn for even entertaining the idea of letting this violent psychopath back into their lives. You can feel the absolute disgust radiating off Thomas through the screen. He views Finn's empathy as a fatal, disgusting flaw. To Thomas, you do not negotiate with terrorists, and Sheila is the ultimate terrorist. And then Thomas drops a massive, terrifying threat. He doesn't just yell and storm out. He threatens to use his considerable influence at Forrester Creations and within the family to completely isolate Finn. He tells his brother-in-law that if he brings Sheila's name to Steffy, if he tries to force this toxic issue, Thomas will make sure the entire Forrester clan turns their backs on him permanently. And that is not an empty threat. You guys, think about it. Ridge already hates the Spencer family right now. He is in full protective patriarch mode after punching Bill. If Thomas goes to Ridge and Eric and says Finn is secretly trying to bring Sheila back into the fold, they will excommunicate Finn faster than you can say haute couture. The Forrester wall will come down hard. Finn is just standing there, completely trapped. On one side, he has his birth mother, Sheila, who is constantly pulling at his heartstrings, manipulating his deep, unresolved desire for a real mother. And on the other side, he has Thomas, his aggressive brother-in-law, breathing fire and threatening to destroy his entire place in the family. Finn's position in the Forrester family has never been more fragile than it is right in this exact moment. He is already on incredibly thin ice because of his past wavering with Sheila. Steffy has warned him a million times. She literally packed up the kids and moved to Europe the last time he broke her boundaries. Does he have amnesia? Why is he doing this again? I mean, let's zoom out and look at the bigger pattern here for a second. The show loves doing this to Finn. They love putting him in this exact same agonizing dilemma. It's like a broken record that just keeps skipping. Sheila cries, Finn softens, Steffy gets mad, rinse and repeat. But this time, it feels very different because Thomas is involved. Thomas brings a volatile, unpredictable, dangerous energy to this dynamic. Thomas doesn't play by the rules of polite society. If Steffy is the shield trying to protect her family, Thomas is the sharp sword. And Thomas is more than ready to swing it right at Finn's neck. I honestly feel a little bad for Finn sometimes, but then I remember how many chances he has had to fix this. Maybe I'm being too harsh on him. Okay, that sounded dramatic, but you get what I mean. He is a grown man. He is a highly educated doctor. He should understand criminal psychology better than anyone. But he just can't sever that biological tie. And Thomas sees that as a pathetic, unforgivable weakness. Thomas has done terrible things in his own past, sure. We all remember the whole Beth baby swap secret, the creepy mannequin phase, the obsession with hope. But Thomas did a lot of that out of a twisted sense of protecting his own interests. Now, his obsession has shifted entirely to protecting his sister at all costs. And let's talk about the timing of all this, because it could not possibly be worse. Steffy is currently hanging on by a very thin thread. Forrester Creations is in a state of absolute, chaotic panic. Hope Logan completely blindsided them by defecting to Katie's new Logan fashion house, launching a surprise fashion show that hijacked all the media attention. Eric's big haute couture comeback is in danger of being a financial flop. Steffy is doing extreme damage control, plotting ruthless revenge against the Logans, and dealing with the fallout of her grandfather publicly humiliating and firing Donna. Steffy's stress levels are completely through the roof. She is a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. If Finn goes to Steffy right now, right in the middle of this vicious corporate war, and says, "Hey honey, I know your company is burning down to the ground, but can we invite the woman who shot us over for a supervised visit?" Steffy might actually kill him. She might just snap and file for divorce on the spot, and Thomas knows this. Thomas knows his sister is at her absolute breaking point. That is exactly why he is interceding so aggressively. He is trying to stop Finn before Finn detonates a nuclear bomb inside his own marriage. Thomas is trying to save the SINN marriage by destroying Finn's fragile ego. But Thomas's methods are just so incredibly aggressive. He doesn't sit Finn down in the cafeteria and have a calm, rational chat over coffee. He goes straight to intimidation and emotional warfare. He threatens to isolate Finn from his own wife and kids. How would he even do that? Well, Steffy listens to Thomas. Ridge definitely listens to Thomas. If Thomas starts a whisper campaign that Finn is a danger to Hayes and Kelly because he is secretly entertaining Sheila's requests, Steffy would lose her mind. She would take those kids and leave, and the Forrester security team would make sure Finn never got within 100 yards of the Cliff House. Finn would be left with absolutely nothing but his crazy, psychotic mother. And what about Sheila in all of this? Sheila is probably lurking somewhere in the hospital corridors, absolutely loving this tension. She wants Finn to be isolated. If the Forresters push Finn away, if Thomas succeeds in alienating him, Finn will have nowhere to go but straight into Sheila's waiting arms. That is textbook cult manipulation right there. Isolate the victim from their support system so they have to rely entirely on the abuser. Thomas, by threatening Finn so harshly, might actually be playing right into Sheila's dark, twisted hands. Oh my gosh, I just realized that as I am typing. By attacking Finn's standing in the family, Thomas is practically pushing him right over the edge and into the abyss with Sheila. It is just so messy, so incredibly messy. Finn is stuck right in the middle of this toxic, high-stakes tug-of-war. He just wants peace. He wants to heal people. He wants to believe that people can genuinely change if given a chance, but this is the bold and the beautiful. Nobody changes unless they get hit in the head with a rock, and even then, it only lasts a few months before they revert to type. Sheila signing those divorce papers was a calculated, strategic move. She gave up Deacon Sharp just to get a foot in the door with Finn, and Finn is way too blind to see the sinister trade-off happening right in front of his face. I wonder what Taylor Hayes is going to do about this explosive situation. Taylor is currently dealing with the complicated fallout of Deacon and Sheila's divorce. Steffi already fiercely warned Taylor that Sheila signing those papers is just a manipulation tactic, and Taylor is starting to realize the grave danger she is in. If Taylor finds out that her son-in-law is wavering and that her son Thomas is threatening him, will she step in to mediate? Taylor usually tries to play the family peacemaker, but she also hates Sheila with a burning, fiery passion. Remember when Taylor shot Bill Spencer? Yeah, she has her own dark, violent side, but she loves Finn as a son-in-law. This entire family dynamic is just incredibly complicated and volatile right now. And let's not forget, Thomas just got back to town. He hasn't even fully unpacked his designer bags yet. He hasn't even begun to deal with the Hope Logan situation. Imagine when Thomas finds out the full extent of what Hope did. Hope, the woman he was completely obsessed with, the woman he proposed to, the woman who was his muse, has utterly abandoned their shared legacy at Forrester Creations to go work for Katie. Thomas is going to have a massive amount of heartbreak and anger to process regarding the death of the hope for the future line. And right now, it feels like he is projecting all of that pent-up anger and frustration directly onto Finn. Finn is just a very convenient, easy target for Thomas's overflowing rage. Finn is acting like a total punching bag in this scenario. Thomas is screaming at him, Sheila is crying at him, and Steffi is going to be screaming at him very soon once she finds out. Who actually believes this is going to end well for the Sin marriage? Nobody. Fans on social media have been predicting a massive Sin divorce for months now, and this hospital confrontation might actually be the catalyst that sets it all in motion. If Finn chooses to advocate for Sheila after Thomas explicitly warned him not to, Steffi will see it as the ultimate, unforgivable betrayal. She will see it as him actively choosing his attempted murderer over his own wife and children. I just keep thinking about the visuals of that hospital scene. The cold, sterile white walls, the suffocating tension in the air. Thomas in his sharp, tailored designer suit, looking furious and commanding. Finn in his white doctor's coat, looking defeated, cornered, and small. It is such a stark, brilliant contrast in character types. The reformed bad boy turned fiercely protective brother versus the good, moral doctor turned gullible, manipulated son. It is genuinely great television. I will definitely give the writers credit for that. But it is just so incredibly frustrating to watch Finn make the exact same mistakes over and over and over again. It makes you want to throw your remote at the screen. So what actually happens next? Will Finn keep his mouth shut like Thomas demanded? Will he back down and cower because of Thomas's heavy-handed threats? Or will Thomas's aggression actually backfire and make Finn stubborn? Sometimes when you push someone that hard, they push back just to prove they aren't weak. Finn might decide that Thomas has absolutely no right to dictate his relationship with his birth mother or his wife. Finn might just go to Steffy anyway, out of pure spite, just to prove to Thomas that he isn't the weak coward Thomas claims he is. But that would be a massive, catastrophic miscalculation on Finn's part. Honestly, I think Thomas is going to take matters into his own hands if Finn doesn't comply. If Thomas doesn't trust Finn to stay away from Sheila, Thomas might just go after Sheila himself. Can you even imagine a Thomas Forrester versus Sheila Carter showdown? That would be absolutely epic. Two of the show's biggest, most dangerous former villains going head-to-head in a battle of wits and ruthlessness. Thomas has the financial resources, the cunning, and the dark streak to actually take Sheila down for good, but he also has a whole lot to lose. If he crosses the legal line, he could end up in a prison cell, and he just worked so hard to get his life and career back on track. But you know Thomas. When it comes to Steffy, he doesn't stop to think about the long-term consequences. He just acts on pure protective instinct. And right now, his instinct is telling him that Finn is a liability. A dangerous, weak, easily manipulated liability. And in the Forrester family, liabilities get cut loose without a second thought. Just look at what happened to Donna. Eric threw his own wife out of the executive office because she kept a secret. The Forresters demand absolute, unwavering loyalty. And Finn's loyalty is currently divided between the family that took him in and the monster who gave birth to him. It is going to be a very, very bumpy ride for the next few weeks on B&B. Between the vicious Logan and Forrester corporate fashion war, Will and RJ fighting over Elektra, the devastating infertility diagnosis for Carter and Daphne. And now this massive, explosive hospital confrontation between Thomas and Finn. There is absolutely no shortage of high-stakes drama. I am honestly a bit tired just trying to keep up with it all. Every single day it is a new explosion, a new betrayal, a new secret, but I still care. I still want to see how this incredibly tangled web plays out. I really, truly hope Finn wakes up before it is too late. I hope he realizes that Thomas, despite being a total aggressive jerk about it, is actually 100% right. Sheila is dangerous. She will never, ever change. She is a parasite that will drain the life and happiness out of their family until there is nothing left. Finn needs to stand up, look Sheila in the eye, and tell her to stay away forever, but we all know he won't do that. He is going to waver. He is going to hesitate. He is going to try to find a middle ground where none exists. And that foolish hesitation is going to cost him his marriage, his family, and maybe even his life. And what about Hope in all this chaos? Like I said, Thomas hasn't even seen her yet. When those two finally cross paths after a massive betrayal of Forrester Creations, it is going to be a scene for the ages. But for now, Thomas's primary, laser-focused target is Finn. The battle lines have been firmly drawn in the hospital linoleum. It is Thomas Forrester versus John Finnegan, with Steffy's fragile heart and physical safety hanging delicately in the balance. I cannot wait to see the fallout from this argument. Alright, I think I've rambled on long enough for today. My fingers are actually cramping from typing so fast to get this all down for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Is Thomas completely right to threaten Finn like that? Is Finn being weak and pathetic, or just compassionate? How is Steffy going to react when she inevitably finds out about all of this behind-the-scenes meddling? Drop your thoughts below, and I will see you guys in the next update. Stay safe out there in Soap Land.